And we are live. Good morning. Happy Friday to everyone out there in Houston. Is it in three digits, triple digits yet? I don't know on an AC. But today, if you want to stop scrolling, if you are thinking about investing, have invested, just want to know more to arm you with the proper tools to invest wisely, properly, and build your generational wealth through the amazing industry of real estate, you want to stop because I've got an expert today, Mr. Josh Singh. Am I pronouncing it right?
Yes, ma'am.
Josh Singh of Josh Singh Lending. And if you are followers and have watched some or all of our 89, he's our 89th episode, Josh actually was a guest over, I know it's been over a year, if not more, right, Josh?
Yes, ma'am.
With Silgrow. And Josh and I were just chatting about how, nothing is a mistake. Everything arms us, builds us, educates us to the next step in our journey. So I want just briefly for Josh to tell us how that then parlayed him into getting into the financial industry. And then we're going to get into the nitty-gritty about numbers, formulas, relationships, how to start, where to go, etc., to be successful, amazingly successful, and mitigate any kind of mistakes or being in an upside down arena as an investor. So, Josh, welcome. I know it's taken us a while to reconnect, but I'm very thankful you were able to clear your schedule to be with us. I know you've had a lot of things going on, and as we all do, but I'm really, really grateful and thankful that you were able to make it today. So welcome to the show. And whether you're listening on podcast or you're watching this live, some great informational knowledge is going to be shared today. But let's just start, Josh, and tell us, you started with Silgrow. Tell folks, what is Silgrow? And why did you parlay out of that, and how did you get into the financial arena?
Sure, and thank you, Kat. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. We did connect. It was about a year and a half ago, and you gave me an opportunity at that time to speak about the company that I was trying to build and working.
Yep, and we used your services. I always try to use, if I can, from insurance to you name it, plumbing. I try to use the services of my guests if I can and support them, small business and entrepreneurs, solopreneurs. I have a heart for them all. So yeah, I use your service as well. So tell folks just briefly, what was Silgrow, and then, how you parlayed into
Absolutely. So briefly, Silgrow was a topical soil treatment. And essentially what it did was it helped to make the nutrition in the soil bioavailable to the plants. So it gave them the opportunity to absorb more nutrition in the soil, as well as kind of a natural aeration so that it could absorb more water as the rain or as you watered your lawn. And it was a great product. I had a great business partner that taught me a lot. And unfortunately, we just ran into some issues with our distribution route, and it didn't work out on that. And so although I was able to learn a lot, build some great relationships, provide some value, one of the areas that I enjoyed the most were the small farms. I got to work with a lot of small farms, and I just saw their production increase so much. And for those small farmers and for homeowners who, in Texas, we have very high water bills. So for the homeowners, even just the savings in those areas, it was really great to be able to provide that and to learn along the way and to stumble and to grow. And then ultimately to make the decision to move forward was a tough decision, but also it feels good to be able to make that and still grow in the future and then see yourself kind of progress forward. Even in that moment, it may not feel that way.
It may not feel that way, but but then we look in the rearview mirror and we're like, okay, now I see that divine right order.
Yes.
So, we chatted offline about how you had a great partner that really instilled a lot of business sense and an acumen and knowledge that really has helped parlay and set you up for excellence in the financial world. So let's jump. Thank you for that, Josh. Let's just jump right in to, what do you think that the maybe the three top mistakes that folks, because I know, especially in Houston, and I'm sure other places around the world, um, investing has become huge. If y'all don't know, I'm Kat with by Cat Next Level Staging and Design, and so we help folks beautify spaces to receive top dollar in real estate as well as design services. So we're heavily involved in the real estate industry. But what do you see? So we see a lot of flippers, and we stage for flippers, builders, model homes, etc. What would you share with our audience as, let's say, the top three, either mistakes or gotta know, should know before you start? Because I know there's so many, just like, oh, this looks like a great idea and I can make a killing and I'm going to do it. And they're just not armed with, they haven't put the numbers together. That's the biggest thing I see. What are your thoughts on that?
I think if I could say the number one mistake that could be made getting into real estate investing or this industry would be thinking that you could do it alone. You have to be open to creating a team. Even as just an investor, you're building a business. You're hiring your lender, you're hiring your real estate agent, you're hiring your contractor to work for you.
You're hiring your stager, and you must budget
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. You're hiring.
If you want to realize 5 to 18% more on the sale, I got to get that plug in there.
Please do. And that's an incredibly important. Those finishing steps really do help to increase the value. And what you do, Kat, and being able to take a space and beautify it, it enhances when people walk into a room and they see it put so well together. It starts to create memories, and it starts to create these ideas of who could I have in this room and how could I interact with them and where would they sit? What kind of conversations would we have? Instead of being a blank room where you just think, what could I do? Now you're thinking, who could I be with?
Oh, absolutely. And thanks for that plug. And also from an investor, if you're an investor out there, and that's why savvy investors are budgeting it in and doing at least a key room stage if it's vacant, because we have a saying, vacant don't make it, which it doesn't create those emotions that Josh talked about. But here's a very big key as well, and that is when it's empty, they start looking at, look at this. Oh, what's this? They start looking at all the blemishes and the imperfections, and no home is perfect. And if you're an investor, you might have had to hire and fire many trades and had several trades on there, and the work can be less than perfect. But once it's beautified, as Josh mentions, they're going to be you're going to be creating that emotion instead of them looking at the imperfections. So that's key, for investment. So building a team is important. So who besides? They've got the realtor, the realtor, the lender, the stager, not necessarily having a partner. And what is your thoughts on? I've received emails on these kind of lending conglomerates, like where you can come in with a small amount and be a pool for a lender transaction. What are your thoughts on that?
It depends on. I'm sorry?
Is that legit, or do you see that very often?
Sure. There's plenty of opportunities, especially for larger purchases, for investors to pool funds to be able to collect a larger property and then distribute the profits. It all depends on your exit strategy. It depends on the individual. If you feel better working as a team on the financial side, that's a great opportunity to pull together. Some people, they want to work as a team in the sense of hiring those contractors and lenders and stagers, but not necessarily they want to have a business partner that's going to dictate the profits or kind of the business decision. So that's a decision where the collective has to make every choice. How is the property going to be rehabbed? What kind of finishes? Versus some investors that want to be able to make those choices individually and work with lenders where they're going to bring a little bit to the table, but the lender is really primarily financing the majority of the upfront. And on the back end, after they've completed the work and after the property is sold, that investor collects the large payout because that's the equity that they've built into the property.
Right.
It really just depends on the strategy of the investor.
So I would imagine if you've got more capital maybe you want to have more control. You don't go into a pool scenario. If you have less capital and you want to dip your toe in, and you don't care about a lot of control, you have confidence or trust in this company that's put it together, then that might be a way to go. So let's talk about the first talking point I have here. Let's talk about the numbers, like what percentage to buy at, rates, and then how to find properties. You have on this point too, but that's like a whole other topic, I think, for itself, but we can segue into that. Let's start off with the numbers here.
Absolutely. Numbers are really important. It's really kind of my bread and butter is looking at the numbers and helping investors understand kind of the upfront, where the property would value at if they put the work and the effort in, and then ultimately, they go forward and they put in that effort.
So let's elaborate on that a little bit. So, excuse me, if I was an investor and I brought a property to you, would I be able to say, hey, Josh, can you tell me, are you going to advise me on what the rehab would be, what the selling price would be, and what the net profit, et cetera? Is that, I'm not an investor, so I may not be talking all the right terms, but is that kind of what you're getting at?
You are absolutely correct. That's part of that relationship. Is as a lender, it's my duty to evaluate the property and look at the numbers. There's a lot of properties, and there's a lot of different ways to purchase properties, whether you're getting them off market or wholesalers or direct from sellers. It just depends. However, the numbers are always what matter on the investment side. So as a lender,
what percentage? Let's just kind of break it down for like newbies, high level here. What percentage of what are you looking at? Like return on ROI, a certain percentage threshold?
So typically there's a term, I don't know if you've heard of this, ARV, or after repair value, on the investment side. So if you look at a property, let's say you're purchasing for $100,000 and you need $40,000 in work. Well, what is that property worth after you've put in all of that work? Is it worth 140, which means you're not profiting anything? Is it worth 200? Is it worth 300? Where is the value of the property after it's been completed and it's market ready? As a lender, and depending on who the investor chooses to work with, all lenders are different. Some may give you 65%, some may give you 80% of the ARV, or after repair value. But those are the numbers that are really important.
So does that mean, so when you're saying 65%, does that mean you'll reap 65% of what you paid for it?
No. So let's say, I'm thinking of the numbers on the lending side. So as far as the profits are going to be different. Some investors need to make $20,000 per property. Some investors won't touch a property unless they make 50, unless they make 80. On the back end, those numbers are a little bit different. We can go over that. On the front end, when you're looking at the property, you want to look at it as far as what I do on the hard money, the investment financing. You're looking at it based off of a percentage of the after repair value. So an underwriter is going to write a maximum loan, and let's just use 70% as an average. So an underwriter is going to write a maximum of 70% of the after repair value, or the market value of that property. If that value is $200,000, that means your maximum loan is $140,000. So it's really important to understand your numbers up front, because if let's say you're purchasing the house for $140 and it needs $40,000 in rehab, well, you're coming out of pocket a lot of money up front for that investment. So the numbers on the front end matter just as much as the numbers on the back end, because they do dictate your ultimate profit. Your equity in the property as an investor is where you profit. It's on the sale, it's on the exit. It's not necessarily on the upfront. And if you can prevent, as an investor, being out of pocket a lot of money up front, you're increasing the amount that you're going to profit on the back end.
So let me ask you this in reference to that. Do you have loans where, and I think maybe I've seen them advertised, but I don't know if they still exist today. But let's say someone needs to put in $50,000 of repair, and it's a $200,000 home. Will you when your company loan them the repair money, like 250,000?
Well,
With contingency that they sell it and it's valued at 300, let's just say.
see that, so it really depends on the value of the property. So you can look at a property and pull comps and look at the market and determine what that property is worth when it's sold updated, right? You're not going to sell the property that needs all of the rehab at the same price that the market ready, property that's been staged is going to sell at.
Sure.
So as a lender, we're looking at the value of the property after it's been rehabbed. So in the loan, oftentimes you're going to get 100% of the rehab budget. So let's say the property's worth $200,000. Like after all the work's done, that's the value of the property.
Right.
If the underwriter is only willing to lend 70%, that's $140,000 total loan. Total. That's for purchase, for rehab, for any cost. So if your rehab is $50,000, that leaves you a loan amount of $90,000. So as an investor, you want to get the purchase price at what? $90,000 or less. Does that make sense on the numbers? So you're not out of pocket?
So you're not out of pocket. Yeah. And I think that's what people want to know. I guess that's what I was kind of getting at is, can you craft the loan where you're not out of pocket?
Absolutely.
For the rehab. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's
imagining a lot of people do that. That must be very popular.
It is. Investors, they truly thrive off of hard money, short-term loans. It's just an opportunity to be less out of pocket up front, to still collect the investment, and ultimately, when you sell the property, you're reaping the profits. And that's some investors love to pay cash. They want to use their cash and they use it up, and they can typically get, let's say, maybe 1 or 2 properties at a time, depending on their cash flow or their liquid assets that they can use. When you work with a lender, you're going to use, let's say, 20% of those assets. So then you can get 5 properties for that same amount versus 1 or 2. So you can grow exponentially without necessarily being out of pocket more than you would be on a typical investment.
Nice. I wish I had a brain for all that, but I know there's many out there too.
Absolutely.
It just pickles my brain. But I know there's folks out there. We have just a few minutes left here, and we can go over a little bit because this is dense information, but good information. And if you are an investor, you're thinking of investing, or you know someone, you want to listen to this information. But let's go into, how do you start? Where do you go? Facebook, networking groups, local events. How do you connect with the right people, the right groups? And please don't say send out mass texts that say, who do you know? Because I get them all the time. And you know what I do? If you're going to mass text me, I put my website for staging. Contact me for staging, but I'm not investing. I'm not in the market for investing. But what would you say are the optimal places? If someone's just starting out, or the well is dried up and they need to start up again, where would they go? Where would you suggest they go to find properties?
You named a lot of great ones. I would highly recommend, number one recommendation, got to get out of the house. Go out and meet with people in person. Networking groups are incredible. Local, here in Houston, there's a ton of groups that you can go to. In most cities, there's a collective group of real estate investors, whether it's your contractors or it's your actual investors or it's your lenders or anybody that your stagers, anybody that's involved in the investment, flipping, holding world. There's going to be.
Where would you find those? Would you find those? Just Google them, probably, or do you recommend
I would.
Facebook groups as well? Yeah. Okay.
Google, Eventbrite. Obviously, look for events on there. I would go on Facebook and look through your local Facebook groups. You can simply type in real estate investor. Go to recent posts and look through the groups and see where they're active and see what kind of events are coming up.
Awesome.
You can definitely search on Google. Here in Houston, there's some amazing events, local events that you can go to that are even free. So they don't even cost you anything.
So can you name one for the folks that are watching, just a free event?
Prosperity. Prosperity Real Estate Group is one. They host it
yes, they invite
in
me
the
all the
Heights.
time. Yeah.
That's a great event that you can go out to. But they're all over the city. Even on the north side, there's an REI meetup group that meets quarterly here in the Woodlands. The Woodlands is growing, of course, in the group kind of scene. They're growing, and there's a lot more young investors that are coming in. They're wanting to network and grow and learn as they get into the industry. So there's events, and really there's a lot of free events. I would take the opportunity to go out to the free events and network.
Yeah.
But
you mentioned key, and that is for all of you who like to hide behind your computers. You got to get out.
You do.
Get up, get dressed, put your hat on, go out.
That's a great hat, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm channeling the beach. We're going to a gorgeous Airbnb for a few days coming up soon, and and so I'm channeling my beach hat.
I like the vibes. I'm feeling it. Yeah.
Thank you. You know what? I was wrong. We still have about 9 minutes left. I was looking at the wrong clock here. So, what else would you like to share in the last few minutes, Josh, with our audience? Again, new, renew, don't know, need to know more. What's something we haven't touched that would be important for investors to know today? Like maybe specific to today's market.
One of the major things I think is important is a lot of people will become concerned because the market shifts and the rates change. Understand that it's only about adapting. The real estate investment world doesn't stop or really slow down, but it does adjust and it does adapt. And knowing the numbers is the most important key to the puzzle. Whether you want to work with myself, you want to work with other lenders, work with somebody that you trust and that's willing to be open and transparent and give you all the numbers up front. Make sure they're willing to have a conversation with you. If you're a new investor, ask all of the questions that you need to feel comfortable. Don't feel embarrassed.
Yeah, okay.
We on the back end, we may hear the same question 10 times, but it's the first time you've asked it. So ask it. And if they're not willing to answer it, then look for the relationship and the person who is. There's plenty of them. But work with people that you're comfortable with, and no well is running dry. Whether that's in all aspects of the field, whether it's the financial side, the contractor side, there are good contractors, there are great stagers like Kat, there are great lenders like myself, there are great real estate agents, but there are equally not great ones. So
they're not all and I say this, I've said this before, that all staging companies, all lenders, all anything are not created equal. We know that. Whatever you do out there, not everybody does it to the degree that you do it. Sure. So, as I tell all my clients, especially design clients, is let's have a discovery call. Let's find out if we're a fit. And it's okay if we're not.
Absolutely.
Determine that early. That what. I just don't think we're a good fit. But let me recommend you to someone who might be a good fit. Or you don't have a recommendation, you don't want to do that to somebody else. It just might not be for whatever reason that you're a good fit. Now, we had talked offline, and I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but do you still have some websites or that they can, the viewers can go and pull up information on the numbers and things like that? Of course, we'll want them to contact you directly with questions, but is that something that's still available?
So that the website is actually under construction. It will be very soon.
Okay, perfect.
In the next 2 weeks, it's just being kind of corrected and updated for some.
Perfect. So you'll want to reach out to Josh. We're going to give his contact information here in a bit. We still have about 6 minutes. So if you're hungry, you don't want to wait, maybe you're looking and reviewing some properties right now and you're not quite sure, don't feel comfortable on the numbers, hit up Josh. He can get some information to you quickly so that you can make an informed decision, on the upfront instead of being on the backside. Because I don't know about you, Josh, but, in being in the industry as long as I have, I've heard the stories of, we're just not making money, I mean, I know there's things that you don't have control of that can show up, especially when you're doing reno and you get behind the walls. There can be surprises that can really take a hit on an investor's profit. But there's ways and things that you can do to help mitigate those costly mistakes, so that you're not working for naught and for no profit. So what's the best way to get a hold of you if someone wants to get a hold of you now, Josh?
So
Would that be
call
your
and
cell phone?
email are the two best ways.
Okay,
My
I'm going to type
direct
this in.
cell,
And what's your cell phone?
713-705-2446.
Okay, and the best email for you?
pjs@cashvillecapital.com.
Asheville?
Cash, CASHVILLE, Cashville Capital.
I like that.
Thank you.
Cashville. If you want to cash in on Cashville, okay. And I just posted that here, guys. So if you didn't hear it, you'll see it in the screen here.
Thank you.
And reach out to Josh.
Can I make another mention? One of the other things is there's a lot of incredible mentors as well. Even local mentors, when you go out to events, or professional mentors who have businesses that are literally built around teaching individuals to invest and learn and grow. One of the ones,
go ahead.
Local guy that is just incredible. He's a great.
I'm sorry, I missed. What was it called?
What?
I thought you listed a mentor.
No, I was going to say, so a local guy here in Houston that's just incredible that I would mention. His name is Ehab. So Rehab with Ehab is his business. And he's an incredible investor. He's great with his, all of his clients and his students.
Okay, if you could repeat that, it's Rehab with Ehab?
Rehab with Ehab. His name is Ehab, but his business is Rehab with Ehab. Okay,
I'm putting that in. Great mentor to reach out to.
Yeah.
Awesome. And that's great that you share that, because again, everybody's new at doing something, whatever they've done. There's always that first day, that first month, that first deal, right? Mm-hmm. So we don't do anything alone. That's awesome that you're sharing that. So folks have you as a resource, this EHAB obviously as a resource to help guide you through the process. I think that's amazing. Anything else before we sign off here? We still have just a couple of minutes. Is there anything that we didn't cover? I think we hit everything on the talking points here. Where to go? Mentors, local events. The numbers. The numbers are number one, right?
Let me do what I think is probably the easiest breakdown on the numbers. And the best way to describe it to investors is it's going to be based off of it's going to be based off of your lender. Okay. So ultimately your lender is going to give you a percentage of the value, 60, 70, 80, whatever the percentage is. Talk to your lender and understand what percent they're willing to lend at. That number will give you where you need to be below for your rehab and for your purchase price. Okay. So if your lender gives you 70% of the after repair value, your total loan, if you don't want to be out of pocket, needs to be under that. Very simply, under that percentage, whatever percentage they lend. For myself, where we're at, and I was just getting confirmation on an updates. So we'll do 80% of a purchase loan to value. If an investor is looking to do a cash out, so they own the property, they want to do a cash out on it, we can do 75% or 80% on a rate and term. Now that goes for long-term rental properties.
Long-term rental, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's a little bit different, and that's different because the cash flow is going to be coming in.
Mm-hmm. Now for fix and flips, if somebody wanted to just buy a property.
Yeah, let's talk about fix and flip, because I know there's a lot out there who just want to do the fix and flip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you want to purchase it, rehab it, Cat's going to stage it, and then you're going to sell it. So for a fix and flip, they're typically going to be 12-month interest only. That rate starts at 9.45.
Wow.
you're going to get 90% of purchase and 100% of renovations. So in those type of scenarios, investors are only bringing 10% to the table for that investment.
So you'll get 90% of purchase and how much for renovation?
100% of your rehab budget.
Wow.
And that's typically going to have a 5-day close.
Wow. I'll bet that's very popular.
Yeah, it is.
Heck, you could interest me on that.
Absolutely. We could talk about it.
Hey, we got to get some cash.
Yes, ma'am. We can work on it.
So,
But yeah,
what are those packages, loans, whatever, that talk about? You never have to have any money up front at all, like for the reno, for anything, and then you close it and you get your money. I mean, is that real?
absolutely. So there are underwriters who will give 100% as long as it's falling under the maximum loan. So, and I'm using 70% because it's just kind of like a 200,000, 70% is 140. So it's a good generic, easy number to break down.
Right.
So at 70% on a typical loan, you're going to have 5% in closing costs. That's your origination, your fees, your title. You're going to average 5% in closing costs. Okay. So if your lender is going to lend you 70% total, and you have 5% in fees, then you have to reduce your purchase and rehab by 5%, meaning you're now at 65%.
You have to reduce what? I'm typing this. You have to reduce what?
So you would want to reduce your total. So you would want to be at a maximum loan to value, LTV, of 65% or less. Because you have 5% in closing costs. So if your lender is willing, and I do have some underwriters that are willing to do that, if your lender is willing to provide 100% financing at close, and your total loan, including purchase, rehab, and that average 5% of closing costs, fall under the total loan amount, then you can be 100% financed at closing.
That's amazing. So the key here is you need to buy well. And I guess that's why people are doing these mass texts asking, who do you know? Have you got any off-market properties? Because obviously the ones that are listed in, MLS, everybody sees them, So how often do you see off-market, or never on the market properties from investors as compared to on-market? I mean, are they mostly on-market?
It's a toss-up. It's probably equal. There's a lot of, in the investment side, there's a lot of off-market. Investors are out knocking on doors, and they're driving and looking for properties that are distressed, and they're going to go out.
And they hire teams and telemarketers.
There's a lot of calling, and there's a lot of feet on the ground, because sometimes you can't necessarily get a hold of individuals via email and cell phone very easily. So you have to go knock on their door and say, excuse me, ma'am, sir, this is what I do. I saw your property. I would love to be able to purchase from you in cash.
Well, God bless them if they're doing it in Houston.
Yeah, right. Especially right now.
Yeah. Trust me, we're having a blowout sale this Saturday at our warehouse. We're starting at 8 a.m., but 8 to 12. But we'll have the fans going and ice water, but it is pretty hot out here.
I believe it.
But if anyone's in the Houston area and they're looking to beautify their space, up-level their space, we have actually rented 2 45 by 16 units that will be full of sofas and rugs and lighting, decor, and you name it. Yeah, we've been preparing for the last 2 weeks for it. So come on out, Josh.
I will. I'll have to come out and at least check it out and come see, look around.
Yeah.
And find something that I could use.
There you go. We got stuff from $3 to, I think the highest thing we have is a gorgeous sofa for $14.95 that I paid over $3,000 for. It's in perfect condition. Yeah, if I don't sell it, I'm not going to be mad. But it's gorgeous. It's a like a curved sectional, and it's just taking up too much room in our sofa place. But thank you so much, Josh. You have been a plethora of information. And again, if you're watching this out there or listening, and you are investing, you know someone who is or wants to, wants to get updated and be savvy and make some smart decisions, and ask Josh about the no money. I love that. I know the difficult thing has got to be finding the property. So you got to be, diligent on that. But gosh, if you can find it and then swing it with a no money out of pocket loan and rehab it and flip it and turn 20K, 30K, 50K, whew, that's what they're calling generational money, right? Or today, mad money, right? Vacation money.
Absolutely.
College money, who knows, however you want to spend it. Thanks so much, Josh. Again, give us your phone number.
713-705-2446.
Give Josh a call. Thank you so much. And everyone, as usual, stay hopeful, stay positive, stay connected, and thank you for connecting with us today. Go out there, make it a great day, and I wish you the best of luck on your next flip, investment, etc. To make tons of money. Reach out to Josh. And Josh, I'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much again for joining me.
Thank you, Kat. I really appreciate it.